What's up, y'all, man? It's Remy FG back at it with another one, man. So on my way to work, I had a few complications. The truck was acting a little goofy, so I went and did like a little investigating on my own, you know, says trying to stick to that DIY kind of thing, you feel me? So as I was investigating some things, I noticed I had a little bit of a coolant issue again. Still kind of nothing major, but it feels major, you know what I mean? So I'm to the point where I believe that I'm getting signs of or symptoms of a bad thermostat. So right now what we're doing is we're on the way back to homeland. We're gonna head up the power store real quick, get a 180-degree thermostat, and we're gonna do an install video today. DIY, we gotta stick to it, right? We gotta just keep pushing forward and everything. So stay tuned. I'm obviously this is gonna be a longer video than just a minute or two. So just stay tuned. I'll be back at it with another one. What's up, y'all, man? Remy FG. So we just left the power store right now. Heading back to the house. Well, to the house. Just got off of work. So I want to kind of talk about thermostats for a second. Now, I'm not the best mechanic on the fucking planet. I'm not telling you I'm going to teach you how to rebuild your car. I'm going to teach you this. I'm going to teach you that. I'm not saying any of that, right? But what I am saying is the little bit of knowledge that I do have, I'd like to share with you guys, because I do want to try to do everything I do to this truck. I want to share with you guys. DIY, you know what I mean? Everybody likes to save pennies here and there, or hundreds or thousands, you know. Try to do it yourself, you know. Who knows? Maybe I would have took my truck to a shop and they would have been like, oh yeah, thermostat, you know, $600-700. Not everybody wants to do that. And I've been a big car fanatic since I was little. I've always been around cars. I've always loved cars. I've always liked taking stuff apart. I've always liked seeing if I could fix things. I used to work at my buddy's private shop for about maybe 2 years. We did some work. Actually, he did a build. I'll drop the link in the bio. And it was a nasty build. So just trying to get everything done when it happens or occurs, or pre-maintenance, or something happened while you're on the road and you don't know what to do, or that kind of stuff, you know. If I've done it, and if I could make videos and share it, and you guys can catch any kind of information, and if I'm wrong, correct me, you know what I mean? Like, the only way people in society learn is, you know, is to actually do things and go through things and take those steps, and you know what I mean? So if I ever say anything, then you guys are like, this guy's you know, a jag bag, you know, you don't know what he's talking about, or this guy's dumb, this is not how you do it, man, drop a comment, man. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to actually reevaluate something. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, you know. I don't have a problem with saying I'm wrong, and if you do, you know, you should probably reevaluate some of the things that you're thinking about in life, you know. So I'm gonna cut this short. We're gonna head back to the house. We'll do some more vlogging. I'll show you what we're doing, how we're doing it, and we'll go from there. All right, man, back at the house, back at it. So what you're gonna need if you do this yourself, first of all, you want to make sure you got some coolant. We got the thermostat, we got a flathead hex tool, and the 10 mil. The 10 mil is probably too big for what we got down under here. I don't know yet until I get down there. It might be a 10 mil, possibilities, but for people who don't know, the thermostat is located inside here. There's 2 bolts, one on the left, one on the right. We'll take the hose back. My bad, I went out of focus a little bit there. But once we take that out, we have to put some stuff down so we don't make a bigger mess. A lot of you know that I did have a coolant issue not too long ago, and I think I could get it down to where, nah, you really can't see it on the camera. I had, here we go, blow it out a little bit. There's coolant that I did not clean very well last time I had an issue, and I kind of regret it. But as you can see, my motor's dirty. Who cares? My cover is up away right now due to this heating issue I had. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna prepare this better than I did last time, and then I'll be back. So I'm gonna kind of do this by layers. I wanted to lay this over the alternator, obviously, and then this one, I got a crankshaft position sensor back here. If you know about Hemis, you know where it's at, all that good stuff. I gotta watch how I talk on this thing. Just trying to cover things up. This Timpum is brand new. I still have yet to drop the video, so I apologize. Kind of talks about what happened with this thing. This truck was actually in the shop for 2.5 weeks, I want to say. So when my Timpum went out, if you know anything about Dodge, you know the Timpum is basically the brain of any vehicle. I had an issue. My front right headlight was completely busted, and it took me a while before I was getting ready to replace it. Well, it just so happened to be that it was a wet season. So wet season, we all know, don't go good with electronics that are exposed. So my Timpum went out. It cost me about $2,000. This is something that I could not do myself because I'm not a reprogrammer or a programmer. If I was, this thing would already be tuned, and etc. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep, you know, wrapping some things up, because when we take this off, we're gonna have to stand it straight up. And then once I'm done covering what I want covered, we're gonna take off the stock intake, and then we'll get started. All right, so I gotta set something up to catch a little drip. I don't really care about down here. I already got my alternator and my electronics, spark plugs, my fuel rails, my fuel injectors. I got crankshaft position sensor covered. I got most of the electronics covered, and plastic and towels and everything else. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this bolt, and I'm going to take this bolt, and I'm going to take this off, and then we'll get started. Oh, by the way, in case you don't know what this little guy is here that goes into the intake, it's it's basically it's like a little prong that's probably about like this big, and it's like a temperature gauge, it's almost like a thermostat, but it's not a thermostat. It actually controls the temperature of the air and stuff like that, and that's a whole nother video. All right, so now that we got that off and out of the way, up and out of the way, in case you freak out, in case you do this way, this thing that we spoke about, this I don't know what it's exactly called, but I know for sure because I've done it before when I was putting on or not putting on, I was checking out my throttle body, because I'm gonna eventually upgrade to, I believe it's a 85 millimeter or a 90 millimeter once we change the intake manifold to a 6.4 liter. That's all coming soon. But when I took it off to check my throttle body, it tripped the check engine light. Now all I did to do to get rid of that was I plugged it back in, I turned the truck on, turned the truck off, and turned it back on, and it was completely off. Now that may or may not have been the right way. I don't know if you guys know a better way to not trip it or not pull it off. There's not enough slack for this job that I'm going to do to get it out of the way, and I don't want to unplug unnecessary stuff. So what we got to do now is we're going to take off, remember the bolts I told you on both sides, left and right. We're going to take this clamp off with some pliers, and this thing is still kind of hot. I was obviously just driving on it, so I'm not 100% sure what it's going to look like when I take it off. So we're all going to do this together. Yeah, so stay tuned. So I just was thinking that I should probably try to vlog and do this. I don't have a tripod out here with me, so I can't really set you guys up and just do everything. So what I'm doing now is I got my pliers right here on this clamp. I don't know if I necessarily have to take that all off, because this whole thing will come out, and the thermostat itself, you guys, is actually inside here, not in this thing. So I'm gonna probably put this back on. I just want to relieve a little bit of pressure in case it does start leaking out. But my plan is to completely pull this up with the 2 bolts removed and go from there. All right, y'all, so I got it off. Doesn't look too bad in there. This thing is no longer copper. I got the exact same one again, just to show a comparison. Let me show you guys what that looked like when it was installed. Completely different, in my opinion. Unless they switch something up and I'm just retarded, which may be the case, because I'm pretty sure copper doesn't turn like silverish, but I could be wrong. It's really frosty feeling. It's extremely hot, so I'm just gonna change it anyways to be 100% sure. If there's still an issue with coolant, we're gonna go on further with the next repair until we figure it out. I want to do this all on my own. I don't want to take it to a shop. I don't want to figure it out. I don't want to diagnose it with anybody. I want to live and learn. And if anybody has any comments or suggestions of what it could be if it's not the thermostat, which obviously I'll post a following video so everybody knows if it's not the thermostat, what it could possibly be, what I did wrong, what I could do better, what I did different, or what I could have done different. Basically, I'm learning as I'm teaching, if that makes sense. And not a lot of times is that the greatest thing to do, but not a lot of times is it the worst. So yeah, just stay tuned. We'll button this back up together, add some coolant to it, and see what happens. Also, guys, just before I forget, I took some cleaner and cleaned the tip of that, as well as where the O-ring on the actual thermostat sets, just so that way we got a good connection. So I forgot to mention in the last section of this, when you're putting this back on, there's a slightly little, I don't know if you guys can see it, it's like a little flap right in here. That has to, when you're putting it in, basically what you want to do is you want that to be upright when you're putting the new thermostat in. Otherwise, if you're putting it down, it's just drowning itself in coolant and it's not working properly. All right, y'all, everything's back together. Quick, simple, easy. It took me probably about, well, with vlogging, it probably took me about 45 minutes. Things back together. I don't know if anybody's smarter than me. Well, I'm sure there's a lot more people smarter than me. Let me rephrase that. I put anti-seize just a little bit on the tips, because when I did pull these, I noticed that they were completely bone dry and extremely difficult to get out. So I put just a little dab of antifreeze on there, button them back together, put the intake back together, put the sensor for the airflow hot cold sensor that we were just talking about earlier back on, topped her off again with a little bit more coolant, cleaned up a little bit of my spill that I made. Other than that, that's it, man. Quick, simple, easy. We'll fire it up and see what happens. Stay tuned. All right, man, as y'all could tell, it's running at normal temp.